Joker 100% wins this fight.
Like, it's almost impossible for me to read.
The game is definitely purposefully vague. Dan, I've been playing Elden Ring again.
I'm sorry for your
That's a reasonably appropriate response.
Coming in very normal introductory statement to an episode. Sucks to suck, kid.
Yeah. What I've decided to do though for this playthrough, because I've done my fun, you know, I've played a good half playthrough as a magic person. I played through 90% of the game as a bleed build, which is the most basic ass bitch thing you can do. Complimentary, but like, you know, here's not the real experience if you utilize game mechanics. And I did my power stance greatswords, which is the easiest musclehead thing to do. It's just a good time, right?
Yeah, sure.
You did not do that, but
No.
because you did not have a good time, and that is fully understandable.
No, but it's fine. I don't hold that against the game. I hold that against my playing of the game and inability to be good at it.
In 100% full defense to you, it is so hard to... I can't imagine trying to level my character without understanding how FromSoft's like stats work. Because
it's
you were telling me about how
least.
you were leveling your decks because you wanted to run faster and roll better.
Mm-hmm.
And the irony is that you had to up your endurance to do all that, because endurance would make you roll better because your equip load would be greater. So if you're wearing heavy armor,
So
you're still in the
lighter,
medium roll or light roll range if you have it up crazy high enough. You know,
Mm-hmm.
dexterity actually only scales weapon damage, and there's no reason that you would know that.
How could I possibly? It's not like
Because
it's not
what
like the
other
game
game
fucking
does
tells
that?
you anything.
Yeah, it's not like the game tells you a single thing. So much of that has to be translation issues.
I'll be
I
honest,
can't
dude. I got to
imagine.
be 110% with you. I don't know that it is. I think it might just
No,
be the game. I think
The game
there's-
is definitely purposefully vague.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a lot of it that I think is just the game doesn't want to tell you things, which is honestly, I truly am.
It's a
actually
weird
not mad
power
about
move that you can like respect, right?
Yeah, I don't like it, if I'm being honest with you, but I at least can
very
understand
much
it.
get that.
I
But,
understand the concept of
Yeah, it's
like on some level
a
it is
game you have to learn.
it is
You know,
the game
your
itself
first
telling
2
you
or
get
3
good.
characters are throwaway characters while you figure out how the game works.
On some level,
Which is-
it is the game itself telling you actually get fucking good, kid.
It really is. It really is.
And I can respect that. I don't like it, but I sure can respect it.
So I'm doing a fresh playthrough again because I want to have some fun.
I'm sorry.
And I decided I was going to do... You can't do that again.
I'm not gonna lie.
decided-
I did think about doing it a third time, but I figured, you know what? 2 is enough. He's had enough already. I've gotten him well enough so far.
I decided that for my new character, I'm going to cosplay an NPC. Because all NPCs, for the most part, have a unique armor set that you can wear. For the most part, if you run into an NPC, you can get their armor, their weapons, any spells, like
Eventually.
everything that they do, and you just need to be able to use them with the proper skill scaling, you know?
Yeah.
Fun fact, there's more than one boss spell you can even get your hands on.
That's pretty
You just
fun.
have to have like level 60 intelligence to use them.
That's
is-
actually super fun. I like that.
Yeah, but it's almost impossible to get, because that means that at least, assuming that you start out at like 8 intelligence or like 10 intelligence, that means 50 of your levels need to be put into that when you need to be putting those into health. And if you're using it with a short magic bar, what are you even doing? You can't sustain a spell. So it's
You can cast it one time.
it's an end game spell that is not viable until you're like level 160. Which
Gross.
is also the PvP meta, I believe, is everyone tries to build a character around level 160,
Wild.
think.
Fair enough.
right? Anyway, though, I'm cosplaying Roundtable Knight Vike. He's a fun guy. He's actually the guy from the game's cover art.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The entire story behind him is he was the closest to becoming Elden Lord. And then he threw it all away, embracing the chaos ending of the game. And then we intercept him on that trajectory, and we end up killing him.
Nice. Okay. Before
Yeah, you
inevitably going
can.
for the chaos ending yourself.
Hey, I'm just saying, if you're doing your first playthrough and you don't do the chaos ending, what are you even doing? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know what that means. I understand that there are multiple endings. That I knew.
There's like 6 of them.
Yeah,
I'm impressed.
Especially for a game that, like, again, tells you nothing.
Right.
Like, as established, this game gives you nothing to work with.
Yeah, no. And on what, you're gonna hate this. This is the easiest to follow game of the entire, like, catalog.
My understanding was that the other ones were a little more linear, though.
Yeah, well,
like there was a lot. It was a lot. Because I played a little bit of the first Dark Souls, but like it seemed like that one. It was, at least for as much as I got, it was like pretty much you were going in one direction. There wasn't a whole lot of like open world to wander around.
You get out of the asylum and you land at a little spot, and the guy's like, "All right, you got 2 bells to ring. One's left and one's right. Better go ring them, fucko." And then you move on with your game, and it branches from there. Yeah, this is the most open world of the games, but also the story itself, like the story of the world, is the easiest to follow.
Fair enough.
The storyline you are following, you have a narrator who pops in with you and is like, "Hey, glad you made it here. This is our next stop. Isn't that great? Cool. Anyway, this is what you got to do."
Fair enough.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
It really works for me. Very much enjoy it. And that's one of the reasons that cosplaying a character can be so fun, because, in playing an NPC, I can have the, because I like to make up a little story for why I'm doing what I'm doing for my character, right?
Like role playing, I think they call that.
Yeah, one could call it role playing game. Indeed, because your character is a fucking blank slate, man. I don't know if you knew
slate,
that.
Yeah.
But they don't talk. They just go, "Oh, ooh, oh," because you get your ass kicked,
Yeah, no, I yeah, I know.
You heard those sounds often.
Yeah, oh boy, do I know that you can get your ass kicked. Gee willikers, mister.
My thought, since I can run into the NPC I'm cosplaying, I'm like, oh, wouldn't it be fun if along this playthrough, I fucking start as a spear guy and use a spear?
Our spears
God, they're bad. Okay, so here's the nice thing about a spear. It pokes over the top of a shield. So if you have a big tower shield, you can stab people. And if you have a giant stamina bar, you can kind of face tank a lot of damage. Because if you have a shield and your poise is high enough, you basically can just stand there and take it.
That's pretty great, actually.
Right?
Unfortunately,
that means that you have to use a spear. And the spear's damage output isn't great. It's a pointed attack, whereas I'm used to sweeping attacks. Every other weapon is a sweep of some type.
Okay.
Even the halberd has a sweep attack that's not a jab. And, you function with it. You live with it. And then, my next step is, since I've found his undamaged armor set, because it's just your Round Table Knight armor set, and the one that he wears in game is like melted and charred onto his body because of the chaos ending stuff.
Tight.
Right?
Rad as hell.
I run into him at the Frenzied Flame. Oh God, is the village? I don't know. I think it's the village.
That's a word.
And I have to kill him.
Okay.
And I get his spear from that. I don't get his armor set until like late game.
Way later. Yeah.
Which is fine, because it'll give me more time to get used to using a goddamn spear. I'm level 40 and I'm getting picked off like crazy. Like,
is that a lot?
It's 4 times your starting level. Usually at this point, if I had a sword, I would be doing, if I had magic, I'd be melting people. If I had a sword, I would at least be able to hit multiple people at once with hits. So I could like handle crowds, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's a slow weapon. It's an intentional weapon. And I am not a good, slow, intentional player.
You?
I know. I kind of just like go.
I just do things. I'm like a dog chasing cars.
I'm like a god. Oh my God. I want to talk about that movie in a minute.
That movie specifically?
I just watched it the other day. I'm excited to talk to you a little bit about it.
Oh, absolutely. I would love to.
But what I need to do right now is I need to kill Vike and get his spear, because if I'm going to be using a spear, I want to use a good spear.
Yeah.
And his spear,
if you're going to suffer, you might as well suffer. You might as well suffer smartly.
Right? But here's the issue. On humans, or humanoid people, normal, player-sized people, his spear inflicts madness. Dan, do you want to know what I am?
A human-sized player?
I'm a normal human-sized player. So not only does he stab me with that spear and I get hit with an easy like third to half plus of my health bar gone per hit.
Yikes.
It fills half of my madness meter as well. So when he hits me the second time, it takes out a chunk of my mana and a chunk of my health. And I stand there and go, whoa, I'm going crazy. And then I regain control just in time for him to stab me one more time.
And kill you.
Yeah, basically. I've killed him before. I know how to beat him. It's called cheese strats. But usually my cheese strats involve jumping with a sword and hacking him. And I can't do that this time, but I'm really committed, Dan. I really don't want to break the cosplay just to get what I need. I've sold every other weapon that I've gotten in the game that isn't like a specialty unique item that I want to collect. God. I've only equipped the starter spear.
No.
Why
do you hurt yourself like this?
If he didn't do so much damage to me, because once he gets rolling, he just keeps rolling. He doesn't even have his magic dragon powers yet, which is something that I don't have yet either, because I haven't been able to kill any dragons because they're so hard to beat with a spear.
Oh my God.
So suffice it to say,
you're having a good time.
I'm kind of running at a disadvantage, but it's been a really fun time, like cosplaying such a direct thing. My current plan is to go the chaos ending and then change my mind. That's the current plan.
Okay, I can respect that.
Because because of the way the game works, you're kind of dealing with a multiverse situation of sorts.
I don't know anything about the game's
I'm about to explain that mechanic to you.
Okay.
In theory, every single player's run is the canon run of the world. That's why you can see player ghosts walking along and doing other things. That's the official canon explanation. Is that there's just a lot of different worlds where all of this is happening, and that's where Vike comes in. My thought is it would be fun to have the character be like, "Ah, shit, I really fucked up here. Oh no, I'm gonna fix it." Unfortunately, you know how to fix it?
How do you fix it?
Dan, I gotta fight the second hardest optional boss in the game to remove the chaos ending.
Oh no. with a weapon that you don't use?
I have to... No, this is worse, actually. I have to run a side quest to get a magic needle.
What?
That will remove the curse of the frenzied flame from me. But to do that, I need to do a really involved side quest that takes me into the home territory of the hardest boss in the game. Optional boss, Melania. Or Melina, I'm sorry.
Maladia. Isn't she the one that Let Me Solo Her was sitting outside of? Okay.
Yeah, that's her. The hardest Soulsborne boss ever. Apparently, there's a reason to believe she's like a reject Sekiro boss because somebody found her files in the game. So to spite everyone, they took her out and put her in the next game instead.
That's hysterical, actually.
Right? Her entire moveset makes so much more sense with the parry system of Sekiro in mind.
Versus the not parry system that...
Well, there's a parry system. I'm just really bad at it, okay?
You know what?
Really bad at it.
I will say, I did feel like once I started, like, in playing Elden Ring, all I wanted to do was learn how to parry better, to the point where, like, I almost do want to play... I'm not even almost. I do want to try out Sekiro, because I think I would enjoy the parry primary system of that more.
I think there is a chance that you would. I would definitely advise that if you decide to do that, I would do like a Steam share thing, pick up a copy of the game on loaner rather than...
And don't spend the money on it right away? Yeah, that seems fair.
Yeah, because I bought it, and I think it's fun, but God, I'm really bad at it, so I have not been doing much with it.
Well, and that's the thing, is that, like, I think that one of my bigger problems was, like, can't parry everything. Like, I got good at the things that I could parry. It's just, most things you can't. I felt like most of the early game stuff, it was set up in such a way that you weren't supposed to, I should say. Like, dodging was supposed to be your primary method of not taking damage in Elden Ring, in my experience. Or maybe I was just bad. Also acceptable.
Yeah.
But I felt like that once I finally got parries locked in on a couple of different enemy types, like, I felt like I was doing a lot better versus, like, trying to roll out of the way of things.
It's definitely... The parries are definitely better. The jump system is actually a really great way to dodge a lot of attacks, too. Having a jump is really cool.
Dude, and that's the thing, is that, like, again, same problem is I just felt like there was no. I mean, we talked about it before, off and on the air, pun intended.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it very much was it kind of doesn't. The only way to get better is by throwing your body at a fucking wall, and eventually you'll chip it away enough that you can break through. Because there's almost no way to know what an enemy's attack is going to do until you fucking get beat down by it.
I get what you're saying. I disagree lightly, but I definitely, because it's one of those things where the game is definitely meant to be played and you're supposed to fail so that you can continue to
feel good about your success when you finally get
No,
there.
no, it's not to feel good about your success. You are supposed to die so that you can learn what to do next time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I like that. I think it's a cool system.
I think it's theoretically cool. I just don't think it's cool for me.
And I think that's incredibly reasonable. But anyway, all this to say, it's been a trip and a half getting back into this game.
I'm actually genuinely very glad that you're enjoying it, because like I said, I would. It's something I've wanted so badly to like and just couldn't.
I picked up Bloodborne and I was enjoying that well enough. And that's a parry system I actually like. It makes sense to me. It's actually shocking how much more that makes sense to me. As an enemy winds up to hit you, you shoot them and they go, "What the fuck?" And then you get to do a riposte.
That's hysterical, actually. I love that.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really, really good.
That's funny as shit.
Yeah, I think if there was a Souls game you were going to get into, it might be that one. But it's so dark and maze-like, I can't recommend it in good faith.
Dark as in...
lighting.
Okay, I was gonna say stylistically.
And stylistically, like it's like foggy Victorian England with like vampire freaks and
that
like stuff like
sounds tight
that.
As shit, to be honest.
It's definitely cool. And tentacle freaks, you can't forget those guys. It's a lot of eldritch shit going on. But also, it took Dan, this is so embarrassing. I was playing this game. I probably had like 6 or 7 hours logged into my character. Nina comes in to watch and is like, "It's really weird that you can't break his stance when he's like winding up like that, no matter how much you hit him."
Oh, buddy.
Is that when you're supposed to parry?
Oh, and Noah.
My guy, I about shit my pants when I'm like, holy shit. I've been playing this game for so many hours and I didn't even think of that. The next enemy that did that, I shot him and he immediately staggered. And I'm like, oh my God.
That's so funny.
Because I didn't want to look up a video, right? Like, I didn't want to.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem is that, like, from what everyone has told me, Elden Ring, you have to just look stuff up.
Well, you don't is the thing. I didn't look up anything on my first playthrough except how to get the chaos ending. And then beyond that, I just kind of brute forced it.
That's fair.
You can do that. It's just there's ways to do it smoother so that you have a better user experience.
That's fair.
I would say if you could find like...
Hold on one second. I gotta bite back in just a second. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. Speaking of games I fucking hated to play, I finally got Dead Space working.
I feel like there was... No. You see, Dan, we do need to address the fact that we just had to take like a 10-minute pause and then came back and neither of us remembered where we were.
Correct. But that happened. We've all listened, and neither of us are willing to like pause our recording, go back, check, and keep going because
fuck that.
That will fuck up the flow.
Exactly. The 10 minutes shockingly did not fuck up the flow. Stopping the recording and then having to clap in, absolutely no. I'm not doing that.
Games I hated. Dead Space.
Games you hated. Dead Space. Now I got to be honest, Dan.
What's up, buddy?
I finished 2 playthroughs of Dead Space and I started a third, and it might be my favorite game of the year.
That's very sad. I'm so sorry for you.
No, I love it.
I see. Here's the thing. I understand all the reasons people love it, right? I was playing it, and the
atmosphere is unmatched.
Genuinely incredible. It does its job very well. I just wish its job wasn't making me...
You personally incredibly unhappy.
Unhappy, exactly. I wish its job wasn't scaring the shit out of me. That's what I wish. But genuinely, no. Like, honestly, it is incredibly well crafted. Like, top to bottom, inside to out. Like, as far as like actual design, no notes. Literally no notes.
Oh, the lighting absolutely kills me every single time I see it.
Yeah, it's really, 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 really well done. Unfortunately, I hate it because it brings much fear.
Yeah, that is incredibly understandable. So, you played for what, 4 hours? 3.5?
3.5, give or take. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
It was fun. It was not fun. I played it on stream. Chat will still be playing it on stream probably this Saturday if you're listening to the podcast when it comes out.
Knock on wood.
I have it set up to. I have got a heart monitor set up so that my lights get darker the higher my heart rate goes, which is very funny.
I do love that.
Especially because it always happens in the middle of combat. Shockingly.
I was personally a big fan of you saying my lights could stand to be a little more sensitive, but just like thinking about it stressed you out.
Yeah.
And your heart rate went up and your lights dipped. And you're like, well, of course they would go down now.
That happened an annoyingly large number of times, if I'm being honest with you. But yeah, no, it was aesthetically phenomenally well done. Gameplay wise, phenomenally well done. Supplying me joy wise, not well done, not fun. Didn't like it. Did not enjoy. Did not, in fact, have a good time. I will say it was less the genuine biggest thing is that I think that it is less jump scary than I expected it to be.
It definitely is. I think
it has some. Don't get me wrong.
There's like 5 or 6 that I remember from the course of the game, but that's over the course of a 10-hour game.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and some of them, and like the biggest jump scares are usually just a thing burst out of the wall. Let's be honest, the game isn't exactly subtle when a thing is going to burst out of the wall.
No, yeah, the music is music is there, and then you hear clang clang smash, and it comes out the wall.
Exactly. I think my highest stress point was actually genuinely one of the highest stress points was fighting a thing and then realizing another thing was directly behind me.
It happens so often too.
It is annoying how often it happens. But yeah, it was fine. Like I said, I understand definitely why people enjoy it now, for sure. Not even I get it. I hated it. I hated playing it. I hated the sadness that it brought me. But it objectively is such a well-crafted, well put together game that I really couldn't be that mad about it.
Yeah, it's definitely it's everything I was hoping the Dead Space remake would be, and then some. Even if it was just a note-for-note remake of the original, I was going to be happy.
Mm-hmm. And then it was so much more than that.
It's so much more than that. It's such a complete, seamless experience. Mm-hmm. I'm amazed at how smoothly the whole thing works.
Yeah, no, it does a really, really, really good job, to be honest. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. Okay. The problem is I'm flip-flopping on whether or not I enjoyed it, because I truly...
There were a lot of things that you enjoyed about it.
Exactly.
What you did not enjoy was that you were alone for most of the stream.
And had no idea what I was doing, and generally just scared out of my brain.
Yeah.
Deeply frightened, because I am, as we've established many a time on this
simply not a fan of this shit.
Simply a scared little piss baby, if I'm being honest. I respect it. And that's unfortunate.
No, you're allowed to be a scared little piss baby. I think that's reasonable.
It's unfortunate, but it is simply a fact. I am who I am.
Yam who you yam, indeed. Just like SpongeBob. God,
really?
Patrick. Just like Patrick, not like SpongeBob.
That's also not who it is.
Oh my God, Popeye! What the fuck is wrong with me? Oh my God,
fuck?
you knew who I meant, and I knew who I meant. And I'm still just like,
nothing. Wrong person twice. But yeah, no, I get why people like it. I get why people like it a lot. I will be playing through the rest of it, if only because I know for a fact that even if I'm not necessarily having fun with it per se, it is objectively very funny content.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it definitely is.
Oh God, dude. I also am surprised at how fun some of the mechanics are. That was the other thing.
Oh yeah.
The
kinetics.
The kinetic stuff is so much fun to play around with. And actually the 0G is really calming. Until something comes out of the wall and tries to eat your face. But besides that,
I think you're really going to enjoy the asteroid defense area.
I genuinely can't tell if you're joking.
No, there's an asteroid defense bit in space. I think you're going to like it.
That's going to be very nice. That sounds rad. I really like 0G things, and I really enjoy kinetic moving things around like that. It reminded me I mentioned it on stream, but it reminded me very much of Control, or I guess Control took a lot of inspiration from it.
No. Control, Dead Space didn't have this kind of I guess the kinetic stuff. Yeah, no.
The kinetic stuff. Yeah.
Dead Space was kind of it was kind of a thing they developed. And Stasis, funny story.
Stasis is really fun. I'm always scared to use it because I don't know how often I'm gonna get a recharge on it, but it's really fun.
You found the wall rechargers, right?
Yeah. I've been keeping an eye out for them.
It's really funny to me because stasis was something that in development they were like, yeah, we don't know if players are actually going to know what to do with something called stasis.
Oh yeah.
They were worried that players would not be able to put 2 and 2 together, that stasis was a thing that slowed things down. They did not have that much faith in their player base.
I mean,
that's why there's a tooltip pop-up if you have not done it yet. Really I don't know if you actually had that happen. Oh, you probably did because you haven't played the other ones. So yeah, you had a tooltip pop-up that's like, hey, this is how it works.
Yeah, right? it popped up, but I also I understood the concept well enough that I wasn't like...
Well, it does that for the Kinesis Impalement as well.
The Kinesis Impalement is so much fucking fun to nail.
It's so good. That's basically anything that glows that you see with a glowing spot, you can melee it and then use the broken pieces for Kinesis attacks. There's a bunch of shelving that does that.
That's really fun.
You can rip their arms off. There's a way, it's an achievement I got. I was trying very hard to get it because I saw it was available, and I'm like, I'm going to get this before I finish this playthrough. You can rip an arm right off of them if you damage the joint enough.
You can do, I mean, I've been doing that once they're dead.
No, you can do it when they're alive and use that to kill them.
Funny as shit.
Dude, it's great.
I might have to try that at some point.
I would not advise it. I don't think that you are in a place... If you're currently in the ammo wasting stage of the game, I think that you should wait until you get the flow down, 2 hits to the knees, 2 hits to an arm joint, and hoping that kills them. Because my advice would be, if you're stasis, just shoot for the arms, you know?
Yeah.
But if you don't have the stasis option, then you take out their legs real quick, and then you take their arms, and it works out super smoothly. And if that doesn't kill them, then the arm you shot off, you can impale them with and kill them. It's
I don't even think it needs 2 shots on normal difficulty. I think it's one to each for the legs, at least. It's 1 to each leg.
I'm gonna say that it depends on which necromorph.
Okay, fair. Yeah. I didn't expect also the church to be the villain. That's always fun. I thought that was funny as shit. What are they called? The The
unitologist.
Yeah, unitologist. Fucking rad. Love that shit. Fucking what's his name is an idiot, and I can't wait for him to just continue to be the villain for a minute and a half.
Which guy?
Whatever the doctor guy is.
Mercer?
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Dude, okay, good. Yeah, so that means that you got to fight the Regenerator. Did you do that? Like,
I have no idea. He's a villain.
Have you seen Mercer yet?
No.
Oh, forget what I said.
I didn't hear what you said. It's fine. I ignored it, as I do all things. No, I really, really, really liked. But just from what his interactions are so far, he's a real baddie. He's a real religious fanatic. Real don't like him.
Oh yeah. No, he is a character that really got fucking amped up in this game.
Yeah, he's great.
It's like I can't wait for you to meet him. You're gonna really like him.
He is firmly unredeemable villain. Like, even at the beginning, he's firmly unredeemable villain.
Oh, 100%. He's an unredeemable villain. If you continue to follow the side quests, there's the Mercer side quest and there's the Nicole side quest.
Oh yeah, I've been following the Nicole stuff so far. I haven't gotten access to the Mercer side quest yet.
I think, yeah, you'll end up finding it. I think you find the first step at maybe not at the end of the chapter you're on, maybe the next chapter. You find the first step of it somewhere in there.
It'll tell me.
Yeah, you'll know.
Oh, I'll know.
You get to find more out about him.
I'm excited, honestly. I think that'll be fun. It's a well-crafted game. It's a game that I would absolutely never play unless it was for content.
I do respect that.
I've been enjoying it has been fun to play something that is so far outside my usual wheelhouse, for sure.
Especially because, like, if it weren't for the horror part, the mechanics alone are, like, really worth doing. I think because of that, you might like Dead Space 1, like the original, because I think it's a game that it still works, but since you didn't start there, you started with the updated, like, higher graphic version.
Yeah, the much
that really one. I think will more viscerally affect you. I think stepping back to Dead Space OG might work for you.
Well, it's actually really funny. I didn't mention on stream, but like I've been having to run the game low. I'm still having because the game just runs like shit on my computer.
But even so low, even low,
I was having
gorgeous.
Oh, it's gorgeous, but it definitely is having like
some performance issues.
And like some like fidelity issues. Like things are like a little blurry. Like it's almost impossible for me to read any of the like fuse box screens, for example.
Interesting. I didn't have that issue.
Something with the way that AMD is interacting with something, blah blah blah, like lower resolution to try and improve performance, whatever.
Got it.
But because of that, I do think that I'm not as freaked out by some things as I normally would be.
You mean like the invisible enemies that don't properly spawn in, but they still hit you anyway?
Not even that. Just like it's a lot harder. Like in the same way that a lower graphic version wouldn't freak me out as much, I think I am getting kind of this not as low, but a lower graphic version that I am playing already. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And as such, it's just not that it's not hitting, but it's not hitting in the same way, so you're able to recover a little bit smoother.
Exactly. It's definitely still freaking me out. Still big scare, but not as visceral, not as realistic, I guess maybe would be the right way to say that.
No, I get that.
But yeah, it's been hog wild. I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't excited to get back to it at some point. And by at some point I mean on Saturday. This is gonna be my Saturday thing for a minute, I think, because it's I don't know. And part of it is also like I paid money for the fucking game. I'll be damned if I'm not gonna fucking play it.
Exactly, and you weren't able to return it because unfortunately the game continued to run that one day, so you're past the 2-hour window.
I was past the window, so I couldn't return it. I couldn't really do anything else. I guess I have to play it. Guess I have to play the game I bought and paid for.
You know what? Worth it though. I think you're gonna have a lot of fun with it once once you get enough power on your end.
You know, I think
it'll really get going.
I started because of course this is how it always works. I saw a little TikTok that was about some of the later game weapon upgrades. Just offhandedly, someone was talking about it was like a little animation about the there's an upgrade for your the plasma cutter that allows melees to knock back enemies.
Oh, it's a good upgrade. Yeah. What is it? That weighted something.
And I gotta be honest, dude. If nothing else, I'm excited for that just to start bopping people in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's funny as hell.
I would advise for the plasma cutter only. Mm-hmm. In that case, just look up where upgrades are. Mm-hmm. Because that way you'll know when you're in the area to keep your eyes open, or know that if you have to backtrack and unlock a room that's like, oh, it's a level 3 door and I only have a level 1 key card, stuff like that.
Yeah, is it worth it all? Backtrack all the way. I figure what will end up happening is either you or some other member of chat will kindly help me with that sort of thing. Because I will not.
That is my hope.
I think it's better to get it from like you guys than for me to do it myself, because if I look it up myself, it's impossible not to get spoiled by some things. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. No, I definitely agree. I guess since I have played through the story multiple times, I'm like, yeah, I'll look up where upgrades are, and it didn't. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Like
it will spoil things if I look it up.
Oh, it 100% will.
There's no way.
You're right.
Like it's just not realistic.
If anything, I would find things for you and I would alter them so that they would have no info.
Exactly. Which is you did. Like you helped me out grabbing that little purple keycard thing.
Oh, dude, that keycard, I missed it when I went through the first time, and trying to find your way back there because those bay doors don't open again.
No way.
So you have to backtrack through the door that you went through, like into the engineering deck.
Oh my God.
You have to go back through that. And it's just very inconvenient. It's not that bad, but it's far enough away from all your like fast travel points that it's really just annoying. Although that being said, when you don't have any enemies to really like worry about, those level navigations are a fucking breeze. Like you will not believe how small the med bay is when you go back to visit it later.
You know what? I can see that. I think it gives a false sense of like game scale, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, I definitely get that.
Looking it up, like, because I looked it up, I was like, how long to beat Dead Space? I'm like, how long am I suffering through this?
And it said about 10 hours, right?
12.
An hour a chapter. Yep, that sounds about right.
And I was surprised because the game felt like it was either going to be way the fuck longer, and I was like essentially still in the tutorial levels, or way the fuck shorter, and I was already like a third of the way through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just gives a really weird sense of scale with those early levels. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to get back to it. I'm looking forward to being done with it. If it is one of those things where like I get enough enjoyment out of it and people get enough enjoyment out of it, I probably won't play Dead Space 2. I think Dead Space 2 is the one with co-op, right? Or is that 3?
Dead Space 3 has co-op.
3 is co-op.
Also, 3 is distinctly less scary.
That I've
dare
heard.
I say, bad.
Oh, damn. Harsh.
Oh, it's not good. It is the community consensus that it turned into an FPS. There's a combat role. A combat role. Can you imagine in the 3 hours of Dead Space you played if you had a combat role?
Yeah, it would. Yeah,
it would like kill the flow of what the environment like feared.
The difficulty is. Yeah, like it would simply not be difficult anymore.
Like the fact that you just have to like your top speed is running, but you can't do anything if you're running.
Yeah.
So you're gonna stomp around with your weapon out, or you're gonna run and hope for your life that you get to pull your weapon up quick enough to turn around and shoot them. Or you could combat roll. Or duck and cover. There's like a cover system in Dead Space 3.
The fuck
you get a machine gun.
What? Okay, you get to be fair, you get the like assault rifle thingy in this one.
Yeah, like, you do, and everyone
what is cover
agrees.
Gonna do?
That's what I'm saying. You fight more humans in that one, and other guys with like ranged attacks. It's really dumb, man. It's really dumb.
That does sound really dumb.
Yeah, the entirety of the thing just kind of wrecked. Although a lot of people are thinking that they're working on a remake for Dead Space 2 as well, with how well this game went over.
Yeah, there's no way they aren't, honestly.
I hope they are, because I'd love to see them take the same care with Dead Space 2 that they did with 1, because Dead Space 2 was like darker than 1, not in a like in an environmental sense. The shadow work in that game was much bigger, and with the engine they have Dead Space running in, it would be gorgeous.
There's a point around the point where I left. There was a decision to turn off the lights or turn off the life support.
I love that. Isn't that so good?
And that I gotta tell you,
have to sit there, and it's just like, oh yeah.
Which am I more willing to deal with?
You want to breathe, or you want it to be dark? And you think about that.
You know what? Until I realized that I had to stand on that long. There's like a long.
It takes,
slow,
I believe, it is 40 seconds of your oxygen.
Yeah. Until I realized that, which, to be fair, there's an O2 thing on either side.
Yep.
But I only have 60 seconds of oxygen.
Yep.
If I realized it was 40 and not,
clear the enemies on the
50,
other side.
Actually,
it might be 50. I thought it was 40. I'm not sure.
I didn't try it. I turned it off. I ran around and was like, yeah, I could do this, and realized. Oh,
and then you get to the end and you're like dying most of the way across. And it's like, well, this sucks.
Yeah, there's no way I can do this. So I went back and I turned the life support back on and the lights off. And man, what a fun decision that was. What a good time I had with that. What a true delight, even. Ridiculous. Nightmarish. Hell. My own personal hell.
So I'd like to real quick. We mentioned earlier The Dark Knight in an offhand comment from you. Yeah. I would like to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. The either best or worst Batman movie, depending on your point of view.
I don't think it's the worst. I think a lot of the people that say it's the worst are fucking like
mad,
internet pilled.
Yeah.
And just being really weirdly reactionary about things, because I need to be clear here. I think it is a very fun movie.
Yeah.
That almost holds up to my memories of it as a kid.
Which honestly, how much more can you ask for a movie?
However, after we got the Batman, Matt Reeves, the Batman,
the new one, right?
The new one.
Oh, it's so good.
I can't hold this as my favorite Batman anymore.
No, I would agree 100%. I fucking love the new Batman movie. My God. Literally the fact that whole movie, I have exactly one moment that I'm like, oh.
Is it when he's talking to Alfred?
No, it's when he's talking to, no, actually, I don't even mind him talking to Alfred. It's when fucking Riddler sings.
Oh, yeah.
That's
no, I like that part actually a lot.
That whole movie that I'm like, okay.
I get it. That does not bug me, but I definitely do get it.
It's the only part that pulls me out, I should say.
So one of the things so here's my gigantically controversial take that I take away from watching The Dark Knight again after watching Robert Pattinson's Batman performance.
Yes.
Christian Bale sucks as Batman. Hear me out.
Yeah, no, I actually kind of see where you're going with this. Okay, go on.
I enjoy his Batman well enough, but his Batman is really one note. His whole thing is just going, my name is Batman. You're going to be in a padded cell forever. And it's like, okay, cool. He's got his thing, but it's literally, he just growls a monotone the entire time he's in the bat suit. And because of the way the helmet is shaped, only having his mouth show like is comic book accurate-ish looks bad. I loved Pattinson's jaw being his jaw, just like out in the open. It looks more natural and it makes sense.
It makes it more of a cowl.
Yeah. And I like Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne. That is the Bruce Wayne of an established Batman.
Yeah, 100%.
But then there's a lot of moments in the movie where Bruce is there and he's surprised that Batman is affecting his personal life and vice versa. There's like just a couple of moments where it's just like, what did you expect to happen? Like,
what exactly was your plan?
Not just like the entire speech Alfred gives where he's like, you spat in the face of Gotham's underbelly. What did you expect to happen? And it's like, but literally, what did you expect? You know?
Yeah, what was in fact your plan?
So many moments. But also, I am going to say this. Heath Ledger's Joker, I'm not going to say that he was as groundbreakingly different as some people claim he was.
No, he was good.
Because No, he's great, actually. No, he's the standout role of the movie, and I wish that we could take this Batman and put him or this Joker and put him with the new Batman.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a gift,
I don't know that it would really work as well. I think we need a lot of tweaking on it.
Yeah, I think both of them are a little bit not like
this
both...
Joker is too serious in his in the way he is performed. He's not comic booky enough, which is weird because he's definitely the most comic booky character in The Dark Knight.
Sure.
But with how cartoonish a lot of the characters are in the Batman, and I mean that in a good way, you know, like every character in that. Yeah, they all exist in this really great way of just being like, hey, call me Oz. Okay, Penguin. Okay, whatever, jackass. You know,
fucking
like
rude.
It works so well. I really love that. And, you know, the Joker just played so well in The Dark Knight. But I'm going to say that it wasn't as groundbreaking and different as people claim it was. Because having been exposed to more of the actual comics now, he's actually like a perfect comic book Joker. He just isn't as visibly cartoonish. And I think that's what people just didn't know what to expect. It's the scars on his face. That's what people were tricked into thinking he was different and crazy and weird.
No, he's not. He's just he's the Joker, baby.
He's such a good Joker. And I was talking about this with Nina, but the Arkham games, he's almost one for one the same as that Joker. It's just that Joker is a more classic comic book Joker with the chemical stained skin and face and all that.
Instead of it being a whole instead of being a domestic terrorist.
Exactly. Yeah, also, frustratingly, the message the Joker says in this movie makes so much more sense watching it now all these years later. And I hate it. I feel like it's like the fucking bell curve thing, you know, where it's like on one end it's like the dumb guy saying, "Oh, the Joker makes a lot of sense." The top is, "Oh, the Joker is a psychopath and a domestic terrorist and shouldn't be listened to." And now I feel like I'm on the other side of the Joker do be making a little sense though.
It's the Fight Club problem.
It is the Fight Club problem. It's 100% the Fight Club problem.
It's the if you admire the Joker, that's the problem. If you accept that the Joker is a product of, on some level, the product of the society, we do live in a society, a product of the world that is deeply broken, and accept that his message isn't necessarily wrong. It's the actions he's taking are wrong.
That's exactly it too, because what he has to say is correct, and then he's like, and then to prove my message is correct, I'm going to kill a senator, and it's like,
I'm gonna blow up one of two boats.
And if I don't blow the one boat up, I'll blow both boats up, and that'll really show everyone what everyone is like. Isn't that great?
Isn't that great, Batman?
Which honestly, that in specific exchange really is funny to me because that exchange is the most out of character of the entire rest of it. Like the point hits where he's just like, yeah, you know what? One boat will blow the other one up, and if not, I'll blow them both up. But it felt. The ending of the movie is so contrived. Now he's at the top of a building, just standing there with some attack dogs, and all that.
I think there's a claim to be made that in the same way that Fight Club does, it shows that, oh wait, on some level, it is about power for him. He is, as much as he believes in what he's saying, there is a certain amount of, it's about power, it's about fear. It is a very interesting. oh wait, do you fully truly believe what you're saying, or are you just is your message a means to an end? Which I think is an interesting take on Tyler Durden, is that his name, and the Joker, because in both cases I think it's a very easy argument to make that like no, they don't fucking they kind of do drive it better in Fight Club, but like his like cult, he doesn't give a shit about the cult. It's not about the message. It's literally just about causing chaos and violence. It has nothing to do with actually like making society better. It's just he's a monster. And in the same way, the Joker has the same problem of like in this moment, it kind of shows, oh, hey, if he is puppeteering until the puppets refuse to dance, and then he's cutting the strings forcibly and kind of throwing a piss baby rage fit.
Mm-hmm. And it very much enjoy that that's like what we get to see, where he's like a guy who claims to have great, like he claims to care a lot. Mm-hmm. And then you watch what he cares a lot about, and it's like, oh, you care a lot about upsetting the current status quo with your it's cool.
Yeah.
Also though, so two things. One, the Joker wins the movie, right? Like he 100%. Won at the end of it, 100%. He did take down Dent. He shook the city's faith in the entire like police department and justice system and Batman. And Batman has to go underground as a criminal. Mm-hmm. Joker 100% wins this fight.
Yeah.
That's actually really great. And I am fully convinced that if Heath Ledger had not died, he was going to play a much larger role in the third movie.
I mean, I don't think it's even a question.
Like, because in my mind, if he wasn't, the better ending, and I mean this with all my heart, the better ending was for him to fall off the building and die. Because that's like the ultimate of Batman failing every single step. He fails to save Harvey. He fails to save the Joker. He fails to save Rachel. He fails to do literally every single thing that he needs to do.
Yeah.
That would have been with the foresight that Heath was not going to be able to return as the Joker. That would have been a much better ending.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
And part of that, okay, so there's a lot of really insane takes on this movie on Letterboxd. Of course.
Oh yeah.
My personal favorites being 10 stars down the board from people who have not watched this movie in far too long, who refer to this as the best superhero movie ever. No question.
Big yikes, dude. Tell me you haven't watched Spider-Verse without telling me you haven't watched Spider-Verse.
Favorite movie of all time. Literally though. All these people who are just like going really in on it.
I don't even think it's the best Batman movie, let alone the best superhero movie.
I think, yeah, at the time, it might have been the best Batman movie. Maybe.
I think it was the Batman movie. I think it was the darkest Batman movie. I think it was the Batman movie that had the biggest, like, societal impact.
Without a doubt. Like, you can't fault the societal impact of this movie.
No, not even a little bit. The problem is I haven't seen the earlier Batmans in so long, and I know how fucking goofy they are, so I really can't disagree that it probably was the best for a long time.
The Val Kilmer one with Jack Nicholson was very fun. Yeah. I haven't seen the sequel with Danny DeVito yet.
Unfortunate, honestly. I haven't seen it since I was a
I feel
child.
like I'm missing out. But, that one was really good, and it was more comic booky, but this one played it more straight, and I think people were really into that, because the biggest criticism that many people have for this movie that I think is legitimate, rather than like, where did the Joker get all the gasoline? I don't know, man. It's a comic book movie. Just, you can turn your brain off a little. How'd he plant all these bombs? Once again, it's a comic book movie, so like you can turn your brain off a little bit.
Yeah.
How does a Joker operate with impunity? No one's looking at
fucking Arkham City and being like, how does Joker have like 900 safe houses all over the city? Shut up.
Exactly.
Like, don't be a nerd.
Now, the one criticism of this movie that I look at, I'm like, oh yeah, is the number of people that are like, this is a Bush era propaganda film.
Oh my God.
And it's people who are wildly in disagreement as to whether Christopher Nolan is just a big old conservative who was like worshiping Bush in the end era, or if Christopher Nolan is your like by the books liberal with a capital L who's just like, we must toe the status quo. If there's anything that upsets it, that's the bad thing, no matter what it is. And
amazing. Actually an amazing take.
Yeah, because I forgot that they actually like talk about the fucking war in this movie. Where he's just like, a truckload of soldier gets blown up. No one freaks out. It's all part of the plan. And I'm like, oh fuck, that was a crazy thing to say during this time in hindsight. And like, Yeah, that's my favorite thing. But then there's like people that'll write a book and a half in the Letterboxd review on a 1/2-star review talking about how terrible the movie is. And it's like, dude, just like, there's gotta be a better way. There's gotta be a better way to try and get your point across than trying to get me to read 17 paragraphs in the Letterboxd review box. Like, I'll click on the read more, and then I'm suddenly scrolling for a page and a half, and it's like, what are you doing?
I can't believe that you've made me read this.
Oh, it's embarrassing. And the number of people that check in on this movie every day. It's such a popular movie. This is insane, actually.
I think that
we cannot discount the societal impact of this movie.
No,
you can still buy Why So Serious posters at Walmart.
Yeah, in many ways, it really did pave the way for what people would think of as like the darker superhero movies. Like, it really did. And unfortunately, nobody really understood what made The Dark Knight good, I think, for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they didn't recognize that it was because you had a villain that people kind of understood that he had a point.
Yeah.
It was because you had a hero who kept failing, time and time again, kept failing, but kept going. Because that is actually, for real, I would argue the number one trait that should matter for a superhero is falling and getting back the fuck up again. It is the entirety of Spider-Man as a character. His entire character is, damn, I fucked up yet another thing. Guess I got to get up and keep doing it. They literally say that in Spider-Verse. Like, that is like quite literally the point of, and it should be the point for most superheroes. Is, damn, I have made a mistake. I am going to, or I have failed to do a thing, or I wasn't good enough, fast enough, strong enough, whatever. That doesn't mean I give up. That means I get up and I do it again. That should be the point. Because it kind of doesn't fucking matter if you're on a meta commentary level. It kind of doesn't fucking matter if your superhero wins. Because
your superhero, the thing your superhero needs to win against isn't like just existing in general. The superhero needs to win against like giving up. That's the thing that like works the best for him, is continuing to push forward despite the fact that he is constantly bombarded and pushed down. Yeah.
It's I think the problem with a lot of heroes is that it's a reason that Batman is such a popular hero, honestly, in general. But like it's a thing that's really difficult for a lot of, like, I think writers in general, and especially in movies, to nail. Like, I'm thinking back to like the last couple of movies I've seen, and like people like Captain America, because in the end, like, he couldn't save Bucky. He couldn't, like, and he hindsight, kind of dumb that he had to bring the plane down, but like in the end he had to give up so much to be able to get be able to succeed at what he was doing. Yeah. Like, the reason Wonder Woman the second one especially didn't fucking work is because she just kept getting everything she wanted. The first one a little better. The first one, she did have to give stuff up. Like, it's a whole fucking shtick. I'm thinking back to like Superman, and like Superman isn't Superman unless his fucking adoptive dad dies.
Exactly.
Like, it just doesn't work. I'm like, I don't know. It's even shows like fucking CW's Arrow understood that, right? That like Oliver Queen is kind of a shitty character. He's kind of a shitbag. Actually, his writing in the comics nowadays, fucking golden, because it's all about him being like, oh yeah, no, dude, I was a billionaire and I sucked. All I've done ever since is try to make up for it. I'm trying so hard, but I was a monster. Please don't look up to me. It's fucking rad.
It's nice to see. It's nice to see cool stuff like that, where people like try to examine like what makes a movie tick and what makes a character tick. Yeah, and see when people do it really well. It's the reason, and we don't have time to get into this right now.
I know,
but it's the reason that the new Spider-Man movies don't work for me in the same way that the other ones do, is because people aren't mad at Peter, right? People are mad at Tony, and he's caught in the collateral. I have, yeah.
I was gonna say, because I feel like that was definitely the case for the first two, but I feel like the third one definitely.
The third one is setting up to make him a more grounded Peter Parker Spider-Man again, which works, and
which is what he needed.
Yes, because Nina and I have talked about this so many times over the last few weeks. It's exhausting to watch movie after movie of villain who's mad at Tony Stark fighting Tony's pet project. And it's like, this is not a good Spider-Man. And I have not seen the Andrew Garfield, but I know that he like operates he's an independent character. He's not hampered down by the MCU because the MCU wasn't like that yet, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, it's a character that needs to remain grounded. That's why the Insomniac Spider-Man works so well.
Yep.
Because there are points where he fails his family because he has to be Spider-Man. And not points. It's like that's the whole point of it is the point.
It is what makes Spider-Man so relatable is that he is pushed to his fucking limits and keeps going. That is quite literally like stretched so thin across his responsibilities and just keeps trying to make it right. Yeah. It's something that we can all kind of identify with, I feel like. Like one of the reason Spider-Man is so easy to identify with is because like we're not all super geniuses with web swingers or whatever, but we all understand being pulled by responsibility and work and school and family and friends and girlfriend and not being able to do it all. We all get that. Like no spoilers for a game that came out so long ago. Spider-Man fucking gets evicted. Like super early in that, like I think literally like the opening scene is him getting like the final payment past due notice under his door.
And and he looks at it and it looks like he's about to go get it and address it. And then he takes a running jump out the window and goes.
Because that sure is a Spider-Man. That's
Spider-Man. And that is, to bring it back to Batman, one of the issues with the Dark Knight. Okay? Hear me out. They pulled from Frank Miller's fascist Batman run. And that was the Dark Knight story, was like just a really like not great take on hyper violent Batman that kills people and has like empowered the police force and shit like that. And it doesn't work. It's not a good Batman. But then you get other shit like Batman who always has a plan to take down every member of the Justice League, even himself. Boring, shit ass garbage. It's like, I don't give a shit about that.
Nobody cares.
Don't give me hyper Batman who's planned to Batman all the other Batman.
It's the Thrawn problem. Nobody likes a chess master in an actual story because it's chess master protagonist fucking boring.
But a smart Batman, detective clever. Batman who's clever and can work out a solution to his problems. That's normal. That's cool.
Almost MacGyver-esque.
Almost MacGyver-esque. Yeah. Where you're just like, he's here and he knows how the Riddler ticks and he knows how the Joker ticks and he sees things set up and he's like, okay, let me call my outside sources because Batman also needs his team. Solo Batman doesn't play as well. And that's not something I realized until watching the new Batman with him working with Catwoman and Alfred, where it's like, oh, he really plays off his helpers the best.
Did you ever, I swear this is irrelevant, did you ever see the Lego Batman movie?
I have not yet. I've heard that it's a lot of people's like favorite Batman interpretation because he's just really good.
It is okay. First of all, I love. I'm blanking on the voice actor's name. Fuck. Hold on, 2 seconds. Hold on. Fucking Will Arnett. I fucking love Will Arnett in, not even joking, everything I've ever seen him in. I have not. Even when I didn't like the thing he was in, I still enjoyed his performance. So love him. But it literally is about that. Like that is literally the point of the movie. No spoilers. Batman is too cool and he works alone. And oh wait, he actually can't do it alone. He needs his Bat team. Like that is the point of the movie.
I have 2 video essays. Are you a video essay guy?
Yeah, I've video essayed a time and a half. Like it's hard. The longer what I am, give me like 15-minute essays instead of 1 2-hour essay.
I got bad news, man. I got 2 2-hour essays to give you.
Go ahead and send them. I can't promise that I'll watch them by next. I won't do my homework by next week. I'll be honest.
No, you don't have to do them by next week. I just think that you're really going to enjoy these a lot because most of my current Batman resurgence is fully based around this guy's 2 analyses of Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, and the Batman that I can't remember the name of the dev team now, but the Batman that they created. And how it really works as like Batman and stuff like that. And it's going into watching The Dark Knight with those thoughts in my head, because I'll be one of the first to admit it.
Yeah.
I am swayed, shall we say, by what other people say.
I would know you.
I know. You might be surprised to hear that. Dare I say, I am heavily swayed by what other people can say, and
the more eloquently, the better.
The more eloquently, the better. I'm everyone's favorite when it comes to things like that.
It's very funny.
Sometimes, because I can come up with my own ideas. I don't have issues with that.
I would actually never accuse you of that. Not even as a bit. Like, I would never accuse you of that.
And I do appreciate that. But also, I'm also not going to sit here and pretend that I always come up with like every single original thought in my head. Sometimes I'm just not going to think of something a certain way because I'm a person who really, really is able to just turn off his brain and absorb a movie and then never think about it again.
Yeah.
And like that, I really, really can do that.
I'm jealous.
But then
frankly.
I'll hear someone, I know. I wish more people could do it because it's more fun that way. But
it's
also
so much more fun. And it has ruined both me seeing movies and movies for my friends.
Because you're sitting there and you're like, really, the mise-en-scène of this scene is impeccable.
Literally, Michelle and I, when we watched Batman, like had moments where we were like, holy shit, did you see that shot? That was so cool.
See, I like stuff like that.
Nothing to do with what actually was going on. Actually nothing to do. But like, did you see like the way that was like, the framing on that? It was
watched
set
Train
up in
to
such a
Busan,
way.
and that's a
good
zombie movie. It is. My favorite part was all the big zoomed out shots of the empty train stations, really just giving you an idea of this is wrong, actually. This should be busy. Oh, I love shit like that. And I talk about that type of stuff all the time when we're watching movies. So I'm with you on that. But it's like, it's plot stuff. Sometimes I can just turn my brain off, but then other times, like watching movies for the podcast, I get way too into it. And I'm like, if we look at the timeline of Ouija, Origin of Evil, I think that they bought this house from the Nazi doctor that fled to America. And it's just like, they didn't think about that in the writing, and you can tell, and I wasn't supposed to think about it either, but as soon as you break out a calculator and it's like when the war ended and when the movie starts, it's like, hey, wait a minute.
Hey, hold on.
Anyway, though, all that to say, I love hearing new ideas that I can decide whether or not I like make sense to me or not, especially when people like cite their sources. In the Arkham Asylum video I'm going to send you, while he talks about the game, on the side, he is also simultaneously running through a comic about Arkham Asylum side by side because he's like, they didn't pull inspiration directly from it, but it inspires a lot of what they do. I don't know. I've watched both of these 2-hour and 15+ minute essays twice.
Yeah.
Very
dude,
good.
I might actually have to watch this then.
I think that you'll have a lot of pleasure out of it, especially because for me, and I don't know, I guess I'll put these in the comment section of the episode as well, because I think that I've talked about it enough that you guys might enjoy it. What I really enjoy about games that critique video games, or videos that critique video games, is I don't want to just hear about the story. I also like hearing about the mechanics and how they tick. Like, that's what works for me. I want to hear the whole thing. I want to hear why it's actually great that I have to press a button to revive my horse in Elden Ring, rather than have it be a default option if my horse gets killed. Obviously, I want to burn one of my healing flasks to bring it back if I pressed the summon horse button, and I don't think that that's an unreasonable thing to request from my video game. That's actually, in my opinion, a really normal thing.
Yeah? How's Elden Ring going for you?
It's going really well. Thank you.
I can tell. No, I think that there's an entire, there's a word for it. I'm stupid and can't remember it, but there's an entire like field of critiquing, I think, that is around the intersection of mechanic and story and the way that the audience perceives them combined. And that is in film too. Like, literally, that is that is a lot of film analysis. Is okay. Why does this shot make you think this thing? Like, why as something as simple
it's
as
so cool to see that
as shot construction. Like, I'm gonna super literally. I know we're pushing, but I'm super briefly. I talked about that when episode 8 came out. Is that like in that movie, the first time they do their little like telepathy across space or whatever thing, right? The only clue that you have that is happening for the first like 4 shots of it is because of the like fundamental building blocks of filmmaking that we as an audience understand, that if someone is on one side of the screen and looking left and someone's on the other side of the screen looking right, they're talking to each other.
Yeah.
Like, that's
I
it.
love that.
I wrote an entire paper on it in college because I was so fascinated by why do we just accept that? Like, we do, because it's how films are made. It's what we understand, what we accept. But a lot of especially first and second year film analysis digs into like even something as simple as like the concept of montage, and not montage as in like you're gonna need a montage in the film sense term, which is a series of shots that seem to be unrelated, but the audience accepts that they're related because they came one after another.
Yeah.
Like there's God, I'm not gonna go into all of it, but like I could talk for a while on it. It's really fascinating how much shorthand is used in both filmmaking and in video games and in video games, and in like what you come to expect from these things.
Mm-hmm.
And how those
I love
can interact.
Learning how things tick and make you tick.
Mm-hmm.
It's
really
very interesting.
It is a little bit like you said earlier. It's a little bit that bell curve of like least based. This video game makes me sad. Like mid based is this video game doesn't make me feel anything because it's a video game and shouldn't matter. And then most based is this video game makes me feel sad because it's designed to do so and is playing on like what you expect the video game to do. Like it's interesting. It's a really fascinating field of study, and it's something that I think that isn't like really as fully explored as it could be yet. Because as we all know, video games are not art.
They're not. I'm really glad that you know that, because I didn't. It would have been awkward if I had to explain it to you myself.
Yeah, it would have been really cringe, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous. Media is cool, dude. I mean, and then
media's
like,
cool.
This is not even talking about like actual art, and like this all also portrays to actual art. Not like, let me phrase that. That came out weird. Let me try that again. And that's not even talking about like drawn, physical digital art. Like, I don't know what the right term for like
created art would be.
It's all art,
because it's all art. It's all but like sculpture, it's one of those things where like movies can be digital art, and sculpture can be art, and painting and digital, and video games and books. It's if anything that makes you feel things can be art.
And that's the beauty of art, dude. The I'm gonna bring bell curve one more time because I felt like it came up a lot in college. Was the he who this shares art, like least tiny brain, and then midbrain of it is simply a chair. No, it is art because it makes me feel something. Like, yeah, dude, anything can be art, and that's what's awesome about it. Humans are weird like that. We can just we just ascribe meaning to things all the fucking time, like all the fucking time. It's great. Humans are cool like that. Sometimes when we're not, being shitty.
Yeah, sometimes. It's more times than not. Hopefully.
I hope like on the grand scheme of things, more times than not.